Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 100 of the In From Japan podcast, the podcast where we talk about the latest news on Japan-developed games and other things in relation to them. Available on YouTube and in most places podcasts can be found. As always, I'm your host, Erroll Maas, and with me is my co-host, the phenomenon from Suriname, Jason Corder.
Hey.
And our housekeeping is we made it to episode 100. That's our housekeeping.
Yeah, we made it to 100 without tearing each other to shreds.
Somehow. So we're going to get right into the games we've been playing, Japanese games we've been playing. So first, Final Fantasy XIV Post-Shadowbringers, finally done, finally at the very beginning of Endwalker. But I haven't logged in for a few days, and apparently a lot of other people haven't either. But that I just did. I wasn't. I was just not logging in because I was playing other games, so I wasn't blocked by server congestion because I usually do it in the morning.
Okay.
Actually, the other day, what was it? Sunday. It was maybe Sunday night or maybe a weeknight, and the queue wasn't bad at all. Like in the hundreds. I only had to wait maybe like 10 minutes.
Huh. Lucky you.
So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so Post-Shadowbringers finished that, and I'm just like, finally, I can get to the Endwalker content, and Endwalker starts, and I mean, again, I've barely done the first quest for Endwalker. It's just like, I finally got to Endwalker. Yeah. I don't really have that much to say about the last Post-Shadowbringers instance, except they have you play as a couple of different characters, and it can be tricky if you're not used to their classes, but it's not, I didn't find it as difficult as like the first time they did that.
Is it because you got used to the other classes, or you did it?
No, it's because it's because these classes aren't
as tricky as the other ones.
Aren't healers primarily, well, except for Erroll Jason as Astrologian, but he's not, playing him wasn't as difficult as playing Ishtola back in Stormblood, I feel like.
I mean, the only classes I have trouble with are what is it called again? The one with the gunblade. Machinist? No, that's not Machinist.
No, Gunbreaker?
Yeah, Gunbreaker. Gunbreaker, Astrologian, and one more. Dancer. Those are the three classes I have trouble with because...
Yeah, see, I just don't play as healer, really, and I'm a tank man, so that doesn't really... And so then with Astrologian, with the way the specific quest was playing as Erroll, it wasn't that bad because... It kind of told you what to heal, and it's kind of obvious when you should heal those things.
Yeah. As a white mage main myself, I take slight offense, but okay.
No, I mean just for that situation specifically.
I'm just pulling your leg.
But yeah, I haven't played much. I don't know when I'll get back to it because I got a lot of other things on my plate right now.
Because we're kind of. Well, not. I don't know if I should count myself in that rank just yet. But because a lot of people are trying to rush towards Endwalker, do you feel like that kind of diminishes your pleasure with Shadowbringers? Or
no, not really. I'm not that into. Remember, I'm not always in that into the story of this game anyway. I like a couple of characters, but. The story has just been kind of...
But is that a consequence of you rushing through it? Like, do you think you...
I really don't think so.
Okay. Because I just... What I realized with me going through a Realm Reborn, like base Realm Reborn, is because I was trying to rush through it, I kind of ended up not enjoying it as much as Heavensward, because when I got to Heavensward, I was like really settled into the world and the characters, and I was just taking my time because realistically speaking, I wasn't gonna finish all DLC quests before I got to the end of Shadowbringers within 60 days. So I just figured, okay, I'll just slow down my pace, and ended up enjoying Heaven's Ward greatly because of that. But if you say so, I totally get it that the story just isn't for you.
It's just not clicking with me. And I mean, again, Dragon Song and Heaven's Ward did, but everything else just really hasn't so far. There were aspects at the beginning of Shadowbringers that did.
Okay, fair enough.
But then it kind of dragged. It felt like it kind of dragged on a little bit, and that's where just like.
No, I get it.
But like, it's an MMO. I get it. You have to kind of. It's probably not necessarily meant to be played all through fast.
Yeah, probably. But, you know, some people just don't really care about the story and just want to have a good time playing with others online.
Right.
And it's Final Fantasy wrapped in an MMO, or it's an MMO wrapped in Final Fantasy. So in that respect, there's a lot to sink your teeth into.
Right. And then... So I've also still been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel Dawn of the Battle Royale, which I haven't seen any reviews of. I've seen some YouTube videos like pop up here and there. And then one Siliconera article popped up today. So I realized the reason that they don't have you unlock the create a deck feature is because the story is very short otherwise. The problem is when you only have these pre-selected decks, you either have to grind or you're stuck with it's going to take a few tries to or just luck to defeat some of these guys. Like the last duel of the game, you have to use a pre-made deck, and if you get a bad hand if you get a bad hand at the wrong time, you're gonna lose. And that's a bit annoying. But now I finished the story. I can use whatever deck I want against whoever.
Okay.
But I still have a couple things to unlock. I'm trying to figure out.
Enjoying it as much as what was the last one? Legacy of the Duelist?
Link Evolution?
Or Link Evolution?
I'm still enjoying it. Not quite as much as Link Evolution because again, this is a new format. It doesn't have nearly as many cards yet. I'm sure they're still like ironing certain things out. I feel like I like it maybe almost as much as Link Evolution, but that's only because it's reminded me of like old school Yu-Gi-Oh.
That's interesting.
Just with how some of the monsters are.
I mean, it's interesting.
And also the legend cards, because the legend cards aren't just, you know, monsters like Dark Magician and Blue Eyes. They're also cards like Trap Hole and Card Destruction and Pot of Greed, of course.
I mean, I say it's interesting only in that Rush Duel changes so much of the standard format that reminds you of old Yu-Gi-Oh. It's funny.
Yeah, that's what I think, because I know a lot of like a handful of Yu-Gi-Oh fans who are like, oh, traditional Yu-Gi-Oh is like so complicated now. There's so many different types of cards and this and that. And I'm like, I think you should try Rush Duel because that might
change your mind on things.
Yeah. The Siliconera article that's in recommended content also compared it to Shadowverse, which they claim is a much better game, which maybe I'll try that again. I didn't like Shadowverse because how every time you summon something like a sound effect played, and I thought that was really annoying. But
I mean, that's a very minor hang-up, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm sure I can turn that off.
Yeah, or just try to tune it out at least. I mean...
Tune it out will be hard. I'm sure it's probably just in the menu. It does have a demo, so I might give it another shot.
Yeah.
But, you know, I have more of an attachment to the Yu-Gi-Oh brand, so it may just be that too.
Wait, before we wrap that up, did you ever play like Hearthstone or
No, none of those other games were ever Hearthstone, Gwent, all that stuff never really my thing.
Huh. Interesting.
It was Yu-Gi-Oh! It was Yu-Gi-Oh! The Duel Masters PS2 game. And that's about it.
Do you think that's because of the anime aesthetic, or is it just mechanics?
Both. Because, yeah, it was both. Because Yu-Gi-Oh! That was like, I realized when I was rewatching it, because I've rewatched Yu-Gi-Oh! A few times, classic Yu-Gi-Oh! A few times, and I was remembering that like back in like elementary school, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was like my show that was like, that was the thing I had to watch. And it's like what's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen next week? Oh my god. You know?
No, I get it. Was it the same with Pokemon for you, or was...
No. Well, no, not at all.
Oh, interesting.
I liked Pokemon, but it wasn't like, it didn't keep me, nothing ever kept me on the edge of my seat like that.
Interesting.
I never felt like there was suspense in an episode of Pokemon the way that there would be in Yu-Gi-Oh! With like all the to be continued and the multi-parters, and Kids WB really did a lot of good work being like tune in to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Event, blah 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 blah. They make up a cool name for it.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
Which isn't even it might be a name of the episode, the 2 episodes, or it might just be a thing they made up.
It could be.
They would like switch, because I remember the Yugi versus Arcana duel was Master of Magicians, and I think that's actually the name of the episodes. And then, but like the other one was called, there was like another one that was called something else and had nothing to do with, or not nothing to do with the episode title, but it was not.
Okay, I get it. I get it.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it just really had a bigger impact on me when I was younger. With Pokemon, it was more the games that had a bigger impact, I think. Speaking of which, Monster Rancher. I started Monster Rancher. Monster Rancher 1. Oh. I wanted to play 1 before I got to 2.
Figures.
And I am my monster is a, I forgot what his actual name is, but he's a black dino. Which I think that's what he's called in the anime, but it might go by a different name in the game. Which is half monol and half dino. And a monol is just a big wall with a face. That sometimes has a face. But I crossbred them. I froze and combined them to make that. But and I'm currently B rank. I just won the C rank tournament. So now I can go on expeditions where you can find items and other stuff. It's I'm having a lot of fun with it. I like how, so it goes for Monster Rancher, the time goes by kind of like weeks and months. So like this week your monster will, like, you set up what your monster will do that week. So it's like, oh, this week they'll be doing this kind of work to get this stat up, or this week they'll be resting, or this week they'll be in a tournament, and you kind of have to manage that. And you feed them once a month, which I always found very weird.
But okay, in the grand scheme of things, would you recommend this to people who are Mon game fans?
Yes.
Interesting. Could you expound on that?
Especially, I haven't gotten to 2 yet, but especially 2. Not that Monster Rancher 1 is bad. 2 just has a lot more to offer. But the thing I really like about Monster Rancher 1 is, so I had only played Monster Rancher 2 was the first one I played. I had never played the first game before. Okay. So in that, when you do training or like work, or I think it's called, because training is something else in the first one. I don't know if it's called work in the second one, but when your monster does work in the second one, it's the same style of graphics as like the rest of the game. In Monster Rancher 1, instead of doing 3D graphics, they have a little sprite animation of your monster doing whatever work you've signed it up for. And I think those animations are really nice. Okay.
But don't you think it might scare people off with it's quote-unquote dated game design?
I mean, it's not as I don't feel like it's as bad as I thought it would be.
Okay.
Like, yes, it's dated, but if you go in knowing that it'll feel kind of dated, you'll be okay, because it could be so much worse, I feel like. And they did a lot to.
Yeah,
they added a couple of quality of life things.
I don't mean dated in a disparaging way per se, but more like games
just
these
in
days.
general.
Yeah, in general, games these days are much more streamlined.
Well, I'd say, yeah, if like Monster Rancher 2 is the most, like, the best you're gonna get, but like if you want a thing that doesn't look as dated, let's see if Monster Rancher 3 comes out, gets a remaster, because Monster Rancher 3 uses a cell shaded art style that aged a lot better.
Man, that's such a missed
opportunity. They never use that art style
like.
ever again. Only for that one.
That's interesting. Oh
yeah, they wanted to make it more look more anime like, and then I guess they just decided to go back to the old art style. Although Monster Rancher 4 is like the fully realized, at least, you know, since there's no true HD Monster Rancher game, the fully realized art style of the original 2 games.
Okay.
Because there's a pretty big graphical improvement between Monster Rancher 1 and Monster Rancher 2.
Yeah, but I feel like
they're both dated.
For a sort of reintroduction to the West, the remasters of 1 and 2 might have been the best choice to kind of help people get familiar with the fundamentals of Monster Rancher.
I think 2 is still considered one of the best ones of the series.
Okay.
And so I mentioned tournaments. So yeah, you enter tournaments to get your breeder rank up. What I noticed, which I thought was pretty funny, is if you beat a monster in a tournament badly enough, like, it'll be the same set of monsters in each turn in every time you do the same tournament. I don't know about every time, but every time you do the same tournament and haven't won that tournament yet. But so let's say you beat most of the monsters pretty badly, but still lose the tournament to because of 1 or 2 monsters. Those monsters that you beat badly, they'll give up.
Wow.
Instead of fight you again.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty funny. So for like the C rank tournament, like when I finally won it, like it was No, it was for the D rank tournament when I finally won it. Like, most of the monsters just gave up, and I was like, okay.
That's funny.
And then, like, for the C rank tournament, which I was having a little more trouble on, one monster, the one monster that I beat badly once, just gave up every time after that.
Oh wow.
Oh, and then the database you use to unlock monsters is really interesting, because I thought. Because Monster Rancher came out in what, like 1997?
It feels like it, yes.
I thought you had to, I had to, like, restrict myself to only, you know, naming CDs or games from, like, 1997 or before. But the database has, like, way past that. So... And they did put some new... I know they added new monsters into... I don't know if they added new monsters into the first one, but I'm pretty sure they added new monsters into the second one.
Yeah, because I saw Billie Eilish on one of the lists, and I was surprised to see her name feature. So, yeah. Right.
I think they just didn't want to restrict players too much. Although... You know, it's still not the most filled out database, because some popular artists you can't really find.
It could be like the thing that throughout time some people might forget that people were popular,
or like some albums I was surprised were missing, even though they had that artist on there.
Yeah. I mean, they probably only had space for a set amount of artists and albums, and they kind of wanted to have a varied enough mix of new and old.
And then they also read the eShop, at least on the Switch version.
Huh. To do what?
Which is how, and including games that aren't out yet, which is how it was found out that the upcoming Detective Pikachu game will probably be a sequel, because it says Untitled Detective Pikachu sequel.
That's interesting.
And it adds it unlocks a yellow dino, but but yeah, there were like games on there and stuff that I wasn't expecting. I searched like Batman, like I'm trying to find the Batman soundtrack, and it's like, oh, Batman Beyond Return of the Joker by Ubisoft, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I owned that game once upon a time.
But it's just it was still fun. I didn't look at I purposely didn't look at like okay, this is the monster unlock list, like what CDs unlock what, because there are a couple of those going around. I purposefully, like, I had looked at those previously, but I forgot about that because I hadn't looked at them that long. So I basically just did it the way I would have done it if I had a CD, like just seeing which CDs unlock what, and just it just kind of it recreated that feeling of just like, oh, I wonder what this will unlock, kind of a thing.
Figuring out things as you go, kind of. Yeah.
It was a feeling I haven't had in a while, and I just thought it was great. And I forgot, I somehow, because I don't have I have like an old iPod Touch, but I don't know where it is. And I kind of forgot like half of my music library because I don't have it on my computer because it's an old iPod Touch. It doesn't really update anymore.
Wait, didn't you then have iTunes on one of your old computers or something like that?
No, I don't have any computers that had iTunes at work. Yeah, no.
Huh. Okay.
But like, so I'm just like thinking of like, okay, so what music have I listened to recently? Like. And then I was like thinking about some of the music that my friends talk about and just trying that.
Okay.
And that was pretty interesting. But yeah, it's really fun. If you've never tried Monster Rancher before, I definitely recommend picking it up. It's on Steam and Nintendo Switch and mobile, but I would not recommend getting the mobile version.
Maybe I'll try to. I'm pretty full on games these days.
Also, it has online functionality and has online battles.
Okay. I mean, I still have to go through your other Game of the Year contender, Monster Hunter Stories 2, so.
Yes, you do. I need to do the bonus quest in that. I need to do some grinding, but and then I also, last but not least, because we're already in like how long? Yeah, we're almost 30 minutes in already. I got my Analogue Pocket.
Ooh, interesting.
But the thing is, they recommend you update it before playing it, and you need a micro SD card for that. And I didn't have a spare micro SD card anywhere. Now, you don't need to do it to play games on it. It's just for the extra stuff. I'll just do that when I can. But I was just testing out some of my games. Screen looks great. The reviews are not lying when they say the screen looks great. Feels fine. It's a fancy Game Boy. And Game Gear. Because it also plays Game Gear games, apparently.
Now, did you buy this?
I'm still waiting for my dock. Though. That's the one thing I'm just like, oh, where is that? Because that's the one, so I can play Final Fantasy Tactics Advance and Golden Sun on my TV.
But okay, so did you get this like a collectible thing, or are you really, are you really set on replaying really old games from your Game Boy?
I've never played Golden Sun or Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, but I have them.
Wow, that is wild. Like, how come?
Back when those games came out, I didn't know about that. The only RPG I had ever played at that point really was Pokemon.
You've had the wildest gaming journey. I'll say that.
Yeah, you know what my Game Boy Advance library consisted of? It was like Pokemon Legacy of Goku 1, which I never finished. Yoshi's Island, which is great, still one of my favorite games of all time. Super Mario World. Super Mario Brothers 3. Some cruddy Lord of the Rings game.
Yeah, to be expected. It was the 2000s after all.
And then the Spyro Season of Ice. And like Dragon Ball Z Supersonic Warriors, and that's all I really remember. Oh, KO the Kangaroo.
That's a very eclectic collection of games.
And of course I had Monster Rancher Advance 1 and 2 when those came out.
Now, are those like remakes of 1 and 2 DX?
No, the advanced ones are different. They're completely different. They're separate.
Oh, okay.
Like they take place in the same world but different region. And the Game Boy Advance games and DS Monster Rancher games, they don't use a CD system. They use a password system to unlock monsters.
Okay.
Which isn't as fun. All right, and so yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm hoping my dock comes rather soon, so then I can have more thoughts on that. And then, like I said, I have to get a micro SD card, and I have to do all that and figure that.
I mean, it's about to be Christmas, so I expect some nice savings to be going on around that time, so you'll be fine.
I just didn't expect to need anything. I expected, I don't know.
Because they delayed the shipping of the Analogue Pocket before?
I just don't remember reading anything about, like, oh, you're going to need a micro SD card for this. But yeah, that was like a year ago, so.
I think it's for the save states. Because the game cartridges...
It's for that and the extra, the music program they have and the, like, game-making program.
Okay. But beyond that, the games just save on the regular cartridges.
No, I think it might be for save states as well.
No, I mean the flat.
But yeah, no, cartridge saves probably still work.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Of course, yeah. For Game Boy Color and Game Boy games, you have to make sure the battery is still okay, or else you got to get in there and you got to go and get one of those weird batteries and make sure it's the right one and unscrew the cartridge. I've had to do that before with some old Pokemon games.
Yeah, that can be a headache.
It's not too hard to. It was hard to figure out which batteries are used for which cartridge, but otherwise, it's not too hard. All you have to do is like unscrew the back of it and just replace the small little battery, and that's it.
Okay. Sounds simple enough.
But yeah. So I saw you finally beat Pokemon Shining Pearl.
Yeah, it's surprising because I thought it would be going on for like 20 more hours. But that's probably just the post game.
Is that how long you thought you would take to beat Cynthia?
No. I was surprised once I got to Cynthia because the Elite Four were pretty much a cakewalk. I only had to use a few revives and a few potions, but I managed to get through them pretty much unscathed. And then I got to Cynthia, and then she used types I wasn't expecting, and a few mons I haven't encountered before, so I didn't know the type matchups.
I see that your team was using a legendary, and all I have to say is tisk tisk.
I'll say this. The legendary got KO'd with one hit from Dragon Punch, or Dragon Claw, so it doesn't really count.
Dragon Punch. I'm pretty sure that's a Dragon Ball Z move.
Whatever. It was Garchomp's favorite move to use. wiped.
You know what's funny is that, yeah, for me, it was her Milotic that was causing trouble, and a lot of people were like, wait, she has Milotic?
Yeah.
Because they killed it so fast.
I think I used the Raptor against the Milotic. I have a very basic team.
I do like how our teams are so different, though.
Yeah, I pretty much stuck with a very basic setup of
Although you do have 2 water types.
do I though?
Yeah, well, Palkia.
It's more of a dragon's.
It's a water dragon. It still has that water typing.
Really? Huh.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I had a lot of trouble. It was the Garchomp that really did me in, and I was kind of struggling. I was on my last max revive, I think, and my last few potions, and I managed to switch my Staraptor out with my Torterra, and then back again, and then finally Torterra with Earthquake did the deed, and now I'm Pokemon champion.
Did you see that comic of Torterra where it's like, oh, a blank type, Earthquake. Oh, this type, Earthquake.
No, I didn't, but that's pretty much.
And it was like, oh, this type. Well, you better believe it's still Earthquake.
Well, I did. That's pretty much how I progressed throughout the game. Like, this type is not effective against Earthquake. Okay, Earthquake. Well, I guess that did it. Yeah, it's amazing how strong Torterra becomes throughout the game.
Right.
It's not visually my favorite looking Pokemon, but it's definitely become.
Remember, it could have looked worse.
It could have looked worse, sure, but it's whatever. But I'm happy with how it turned out, and I'm happy that I'm now.
I do appreciate
league champion.
That you have a Golduck and a shiny Rapidash.
Yes, this is my first shiny Pokemon. It was first a shiny Ponyta, and
yes,
then that evolved into the shiny Rapidash, and I was like, okay, this is just too special not to have in my party, and it was also my only fire type. So I figured,
right,
I need to have that balance because I don't know what I'm going to be expecting once I'm at the Elite Four and Cynthia. So that's why I had the setup I have. And actually, Palkia is not really my 6th starter. It's kind of like a. I actually have only 5 favorites throughout the game, which are Torterra, Luxray, Golduck, Staraptor, and Rapidash. Rapidash. So the 6th slot was basically open to whichever was the highest level Pokemon at the time, and that had just happened to be Palkia. So that's why I have a Palkia in my team. Not for any power reasons, because I'm not that into competitive battling. I'm just in it for the adventure, and I'm happy it's done. And I'm now going through the post game, and Mesprit is making my life a living hell. So.
Right. Now you know how I feel.
Yeah, it's tricky because he keeps, or they keep...
it? I don't think it has a gender.
Or it.
It's a legendary.
It flees whenever you battle it. So you have to use Mean Look. Yeah, you have to trap it.
Or a quick ball. If you're lucky.
If you're lucky. And I haven't been lucky so far. And I
haven't even been able to encounter it yet. So your luck is a little better than mine.
Well, there's the marking app on your Poketch.
Yeah.
And you use that to locate it, and then
I've been using that, but every time you fly to a new location, it goes across the map.
The trick is you have to maneuver yourself close to Mesprit that it's on, or it's between 2 areas where you are in. So then you have to shift on the edge of that map between those 2 areas until Mesprit is in this exact same area as you are, and then you circle around in the tall grass and then get Mesprit in a battle like that.
Right. I don't know. It feels weird because I remember, like, I was replaying Soul Silver, and this was years ago, almost a decade ago at this point, and I was getting all the 3 legendary beasts, and it was actually pretty easy. It didn't feel as annoying as Mesprit did.
Yeah, This is definitely the one that's giving me a headache, and
did you get the other two?
Yeah, I got the other two because they don't flee.
Yeah, they don't. They're just in the
cave. So I got Mesprit.
I had some close calls with one of them with Azulf, I think.
Yeah, that can be pretty tough. With Mesprit, I encountered that one the second. I was hoping I'd get that as the third. So as soon as I got a headache from trying to catch it, I was like, you know what, screw this, I'm going to the third one. And then I got the third one. I'm like, screw it, I'm going to the battle tower. I don't need Mesprit. I don't even like you. And I only now need what's it called, Drifloon. I only need to see/catch Drifloon, and then I'm done with my Sinnoh
you already saw it. You must have skipped it. I think there's a trainer you could probably find with Drifloon that maybe you skipped.
I either skipped it, or it could be like a trainer exclusive to your version, maybe.
Because that's what. Well, no, I don't think so. Because that's why I have like two random Pokemon that I totally forgot what they are, but they're not part of any evolutionary line, but they're between two different ones. So I'm just like, wait, what are those?
No, because I looked up a few guides and they mentioned Drifloon is or Drifloon appears in the game post Cynthia, like in the post game.
Isn't it Wednesdays at the windmill?
Yeah, at the windmills, and it only appears on Fridays. Can you believe that?
Or Fridays.
So,
yeah, they've been doing that since Gold and Silver.
If I didn't look up a guide, I'd never figured it out. So there you go. That was my journey through Shining Pearl, and now it continues with the post game and the Grand Underground. But I'm done with it. I can now invest time in Scarlet Nexus. I'm also done with Halo Infinite, so that's also been the biggest magnet of my time. Back to Scarlet Nexus and maybe Yakuza Like a Dragon.
All right, so next we'll be moving on to the In From Japan J-List, recent video game related entertainment news. The last In From Japan J-List of the year, by the way. And we actually have a lot because the news just kept coming this week. So first we have SuperCon 2020 Live, what happened? So Ultraman, Subaraya, the company who does Ultraman and Gridman and some other stuff, they had their Subaraya Con. They had quite a few announcements. This is from Ultraman Connection. I don't know who it's by, but... So there's an upcoming Ultraman original full-length movie, CG animated movie coming to Netflix, it's currently in production at Industrial Light and Magic.
Interesting.
But it's unrelated to the other Netflix, the Netflix Ultraman series.
Huh. Interesting. What could that mean?
Yeah.
Because Industrial Light and Magic is an American company, so is this an American take on Ultraman?
It wouldn't be the first Western-made Ultraman, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I figured.
There was that weird Australian one.
Yeah.
Towards the future, or was it New Zealand?
Probably New Zealand.
And then we have the Another Gene, Ultraman Another Gene, an offshoot project building upon the story of Ultraman Geed in the form of a comic drawn by globally recognized artist duo Gurihiru. Little else was shown about Another Gene at this presentation, but it will be coming to Subaraya Imagination in the near future, which I'm surprised it's a comic because the art style looks like very similar to Studio Trigger.
Maybe it'll be the basis of an anime soon enough.
Yeah, maybe in the future. There's an immersive live-action project called Into the Story, an immersive live attraction known as Into the Story, still forthcoming, but promises the chance to allow audiences to directly insert themselves into new fantastical adventures, starting with a story featuring Ultraman Trigger and Ultraman Zet. Finally, Suga Koshi-kan laid out the first notes of a mysterious, ambitious concept the company is working on, known only as the Hero Project. Little was shared, but a key poignant point that Sukagoshi-san spoke of was the belief that billions of people on Earth have billions of different heroes. The reveal was accompanied by a heartwarming video asking various people who the heroes in their life are and how that heroism manifests. And then they announced the Subaraya original movie, Ultraman Trigger, Episode Z, which is the Ultraman Trigger movie. They kind of do a movie for each series, so I'm not really too surprised about that. Netflix's Anime Ultraman returns on April 10th, 2022. Next, there was a big presentation on the upcoming second season of Ultraman anime. Gridman, Dynazenon. Oh, there's going to be a Gridman and Cross Dynazenon movie. The two anime. I haven't finished Dynazenon yet, but
that's interesting because the OG or not OG, like the previous Gridman series, is one of their favorites.
Right. Well, it's just because that was easier to watch. Dynazenon is only on Funimation.
You didn't get it on Blu-ray yet, or is it not available?
It's not on Blu-ray yet. Gridman took like 2 years to get on Blu-ray.
Oh, wow.
To get on English language Blu-ray. So yeah, hopefully it's faster. But
yeah, good luck.
And then director Akira Amamiya attended the event, revealing the new teaser visual for the cinematic event, and was even joined on stage by live suit versions of the titular heroes. That was pretty cool. New animation project Kaiju Decode, which will be it's a collaboration between Subaraya and Toei. It's a new multi-platform IP, the first preview of which won a number of awards at various animation festivals this last year. There's a Kaiju Decode VR special program for VR headsets, where you can see different characters' perspectives of the same scene. And then I don't know if there's probably going to be an English subtitle version of this at some point, because it won awards at like the Atlanta Sci-Fi Film Festival. So it's kind of confusing because I just thought it was a movie, but I guess it's a multimedia thing.
Okay.
Shin Ultraman got a Japanese release date of May 13th, 2022. And that's it.
Okay.
So lots of good stuff. Lots of good big stuff.
Yes, you will be eating well for the coming year, so to speak.
Yeah, I still need to finish Ultraman Trigger. I'm way behind on that. Speaking of eating well, Godzilla versus the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the comic book crossover we never knew we needed. Says who? I knew that. This is by Jesse Sheeden for IGN.
I think it's Shadeen.
IGN. Shadeen? Yeah, you're right. Shadeen. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers have dealt with every giant monster in Rita Repulsa's almost bottomless arsenal, but they've never proven their mettle against the true king of the monsters. That's finally going to change in 2022, as the Rangers declare war on Godzilla himself. That's the premise behind Godzilla vs. the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, an upcoming comic book crossover between IDW Publishing and Boom Studios. This 5-issue series will explore what happens when Rita and her teenage nemesis cross over into the Godzilla universe. Godzilla vs. the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is written by Godzilla Cataclysm's Cullen Bunn with art by Freddie E. Williams II, whose previous crossover work includes Batman/Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and He-Man/Thundercats. And colors by Andrew Dahlhaus. Here's the official plot summary. When Rita Repulsa uses an ancient artifact to transport herself to a universe without Power Rangers, she finds herself in a world with aliens, kaiju, and Godzilla. Hoping to annihilate this new foe, Rita hurls her own terrible creatures into battle, but she never expects that the Rangers have followed her to this alternate reality, pitting the Dinozords themselves head-to-head with the King of the Monsters. Based on the cover art, the series looks to take place fairly early in the Power Rangers timeline, when Tommy is still serving as the Green Ranger. The variant cover below suggests Godzilla's throwdown with the Dragon Zord will be one of the pivotal matchups in the series. Though if we've learned anything about crossovers over the years, eventually the Rangers and Godzilla will put aside their differences to confront a common pointy hat-wearing foe.
Or, Godzilla will turn into a Megazord of some sort. Or, Tommy will control it with the dragon flute.
Dragon dagger, excuse you.
You know what I
sense,
mean.
Dragon Zord is very obviously inspired by Godzilla. So,
well, I mean, dragons are a thing in most mythology, so.
No, but the Dragon Zord specifically, like just the way it comes out of the ocean and
I get it.
And all that. So I'm very excited for that. The Power Rangers Justice League crossover, although short, was very good. I have not read the Ninja Turtles one yet. But I've heard it's also good.
Mm-hmm.
I've also heard Batman Ninja Turtles is surprisingly good as well.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. These things that you think wouldn't work just end up working.
I mean, they just have fun with it because it's lower stakes and they're not trying to add here.
But then, it's lower stakes. But then there's like a character interaction that's actually pretty deep, but they don't really. And it's like, whoa. And it's like, oh, I wish I could have gotten into that more.
I mean,
but,
it's a
short crossover.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next up, Tales of Fantasia Blu-ray will come out in 2022. This is by Stephanie Liu for Siliconera. Discotech Media announced that it not only licensed Tales of Fantasia the animation, but will also release the Blu-ray. It will come out in April 2022. The Blu-ray will have both the Japanese and English dubs as well as English subtitles. Along with the 4 Tales of Fantasia the animation episodes, the Blu-ray will have special features such as interviews. However, that is the only extra bit that Discotech Media has announced so far. Tales of Fantasia the animation originally aired in Japan between 2004 and 2006, and it covers the events of the game. So yeah, you can check that out, Jason.
No, I've already seen it.
Well, now you can watch it again. I don't know.
I mean, as much as I love Tales, I don't think I need to see this again. I probably, if I want to see a Tales anime, it's probably be the Abyss one, because I never got to play the game, or I might read the manga, or whatever. But yeah, I'm happy it exists. Don't get me wrong, because the animation is so well done. I think it's production IG. Ufotable didn't do animation until, I want to say, no, it wasn't Abyss. The one after Abyss. Probably. I don't think they got their hands on the animation until not Zestiria. Before that.
Zestiria.
No, before that. Exilia, I think.
It doesn't. Oh, wait, hang on. Yeah, Exilia, you're right.
Okay. So yeah.
But before that, they did God Eater.
You mean production IG or Ufotable?
No, Ufotable.
Okay. I always think it's ironic how production IG did the animation for early Tales and also Star Ocean, because they were essentially like twins separated at birth.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Next up, Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog is releasing on Blu-ray in 2022 by Andrew Kia for Siliconera. Discotech Media, so once again, announced it is releasing the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog animated series on Blu-ray in February 2022. The newly remastered release will feature all 65 episodes of the stereo sound. Additionally, it will come with commentary from animator Milton Knight, as well as pilot episodes, rushes, commercials, and bumpers. There is no confirmed price. Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog originally aired from 1993 to 1996, with Sega of America producing. The Blu-ray release will include the original sales pilot as well as the 1996 Christmas special, Sonic Christmas Blast. Furthermore, it will also come with the rushes or dailies for the first episode, Super Special Sonic Search, and Smash Squad. Commentary. Blah, blah. So this isn't. So this Sonic. This is the Sonic cartoon that I want to say possibly aired on Disney Channel back in the day.
Or it's Fox Kids.
Not the other one. it's not. This is not the one based on the comic book.
No, I know,
this
I
is
know,
a more
I know.
episodic type thing.
Yeah. This also Julia White or before Julia White?
No, it was. They were all. No, all three. Funnily enough, all three series at the time, Sonic was voiced by Julia White in all of them.
Yeah, you had Sonic the Hedgehog, which was based on the early Genesis games. Then you had the one based on the comics, and then you had, I think, Sonic Underground.
I think Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog is the...
Yeah, it's the one I'm talking about now. Sonic the Hedgehog, then you had Sonic Underground, and then Sonic X is the anime, if I'm not mistaken.
Sonic X was the anime, yeah. And then there was the anime, the Sonic the Hedgehog anime movie.
Oh, that is wild.
Yeah, which was earlier and had an English dub, and it was very strange. It had a bunch of characters who never showed up in anything else ever again. And of course the live action movie, which we talked about, and the sequel, which we talked about last episode. Next up, Tales of Krystoria manga adaptation announced. This is by Kazuma Hashimoto for Siliconera. Bandai Namco announced the production of a Tales of Krystoria manga adaptation, which will conclude its story. Tales of Krystoria writer Jun Kumagai will pen the scenario, while artist Tsubaki Ayasugi will provide illustrations for it. More information regarding the publication period of the manga will be revealed in the future. However, the official Twitter account shared illustrations of the 6 main characters. These revealed how they will appear in the manga adaptation. There are illustrations on the article. So the story will be finished in the manga. Hopefully it does not get canceled.
I think not. It's very unlikely that a manga get canceled so early in its run. Very rare.
That's true.
Very rare.
But it is Tales, so.
Well, the thing is, manga is a more consistent and well-known quantity, as opposed to a mobile game. A mobile game is dependent on so many factors, and if you don't hit, you don't hit. Manga, on the other hand, has an established industry and fan base, and people love the Tales of manga series. And, well, I think this is probably the best they could have done given the circumstances. The other was probably like a short movie concluding the whole affair, but there's probably not enough budget and time to do that. And at least we're getting a conclusion. That's more than other games who have ended their service can say.
Yes. Next up, Your Name creator Makoto Shinkai reveals a new movie. This is by Josh Tolentino for Siliconera. Creator of Your Name, Makoto Shinkai, has revealed his newest anime movie. Its Japanese title is Susume no Tojimare, which translates to Susume's Door Locking, or Susume Locks Up. Oops, they forgot to... It is his. They put it his is. It is his first film since 2019's Weathering with You, aka Tenki no Ko. That was the last movie I saw in theaters.
I still haven't seen it, believe it or not.
I liked Your Name better, but like, it's still good. The announcement event is also included a reveal of the film's key visual, which shows a dilapidated door standing in the middle of a partially submerged ruin. During the reveal event, Shinkai described Susume no Tojimare as a modern adventure-style road movie around Japan. The story begins with a teenager from rural Kyushu named Suzume, who meets a boy seeking out a certain door. Together, they find it in some mountain ruins, and upon opening the door, Suzume realizes that she set off some kind of phenomenon. Other mysterious doors are opening throughout the country, bringing disasters from the other side. Suzume must travel around Japan and close the doors and end the calamity. Promotional copy on the film's website suggests that the movie will involve unseen landscapes, greetings and farewells, as well as surprises and crises. The story of how Suzume moves forward will shine a ray of light on the journey of living alongside anxiety and discomfort. During the press conference, Shinkai stated that the reference to closing doors rather than opening them can also be seen as finding closure or resolution, or a tying of loose ends. Makoto Shinkai will direct the film and provide the screenplay. Several of his veteran collaborators are also involved in the production. Masayoshi Tanaka will handle character designs. He previously provided the designs for Your Name and Weathering with You. Kenichi Tsuchiya, who worked on Your Name and The Garden of Words, is serving as animation director. Takumi Tanji from Children Who Chase Lost Voices is the art director. It will release in Japan in 2022. Yeah, so that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I know Your Name is really popular among anime fans and just people who like movies in general.
Yeah.
Next up, the last story on the J list. Digimon Con was announced on Twitter from the Digimon Webnet Twitter. A distribution event called Digimon Con for Digimon fans will be held. It will be distributed on YouTube Bandai official channel from 10 o'clock on Sunday. I'm guessing Japanese. Yeah. Sunday, February 27th, 2022, Japan time. Please check the special website for details. And there will be some anime information and game information. Among other things. I got my Digimon Vital bracelet, but I haven't used it quite yet.
So your Digi-Egg has died?
No. So I got a Digi-Egg, and then I reset it because I realized, like, just the timing of everything. I'm like, okay, I should actually, like, of the time, like, it came at night, and it's like, well, I don't want it to turn into, like, a lazy Digimon because I'm sleeping or something when I just got it. Luckily, it's easy to reset. Also, season 4 of Agretsuko is out on Netflix now. So, yeah. But I'm excited for Digimon Con and Godzilla and Ultraman and, you know, everything's coming up Erroll right now.
Yeah.
In terms of entertainment stuff. Anyways, moving on to the last recommended content of the year. Articles other than news from the past week listed out. Links in the description, or no, links in the paste bin, which is in the description. We have Forspoken is Square Enix's newest international collaboration by Imran Khan for Fanbyte, because people were not happy with the way that the main character was described.
It very much sounded like, I can say that I have one black friend. Oh,
yeah.
Which, you know, is
like, everybody was like, "What is it?" Like, "Oh, yeah, she walks in a hip hoppy way," and everybody's like, "What does that even mean?"
It means she's black. They don't know how to say it properly. It just means she's black.
It's like, but we can see that. Why do you have to?
Yeah, they.
So a lot of the hype for this game really died because of that, it seems. At least among
there's a lot to
people on the internet. Yeah.
Like, not to discount...
I'm still hoping the game is good, but yeah, that...
Not to discount Ella Balinska's...
no, of course not.
...portrayal or involvement in the game, or what input she had in the development, or the BIPOC consultants Square Enix hired for this game.
Yeah.
But it is slightly worrying when a person of color is portrayed on screen or virtually in a video game, and the people who helped create that person of color isn't a person of color themselves.
Right.
That's not to say that people who aren't person of color cannot write person of color.
Right.
It's just that some nuances and some historical things can be overlooked, and it can sometimes lead to an idealized version or a not good enough version of what a person of color should be portrayed as.
I'm not like putting any blame on him. I'm just wondering, isn't Gary Whitta one of the writers on this game?
Gary Whitta and Amy Hennig are credited as the people who came up with the concept for the game. Todd Stashwick and Amy. I'm blanking on the last name. I'm looking it up right now. Forspoken. Writers. Okay. Allison Reimer and Todd Stashwick are the current writers of the game. Like, no, I shouldn't say current. They are the main writers of the game.
So Gary Whitta and Amy Hennig came up with the initial concept.
Yeah.
And maybe somewhere, like, the execution just didn't work out somewhere down the line, and there was just some... Who knows?
It doesn't have to be a bad thing in that they were quote-unquote replaced. It's just they came up with the concept. Maybe they didn't have enough time to devote their full intention on the game.
Fully flesh it out.
Maybe they had other concurrent projects to focus on that took priority. But maybe this was the deal from the get-go where these four came together and said, you know what, we'll do the concept. You guys help flesh out the story, and that's how it went. Like, whenever there's a new TV show, I don't think it's the right thing to assume that there's one person who created it and wrote every episode, because you have a writer's room, which is very normal. So I think they're doing that approach for this game. What I will say regarding the mix between Western creatives and a Japanese dev team, I think this is Square trying to finally meld those two philosophies together. Because when you look at games like Final Fantasy XV and even like the big 3D Final Fantasy games and Final Fantasy Origin, Stranger of Paradise, I think they're trying to cater more to a Western audience, but they just don't know how to really fully properly convey that. So they just said, you know what, screw it, we'll just hire a Western writing team to do it for us, and then we'll do the coding and the development behind all that.
Speaking of which, you know, the whole thing shouldn't be credited to just one person. Off the top of your head, without looking it up, do you know who the director of Shin Ultraman and Shin Godzilla is?
Hideaki Anno?
Nope.
Oh no, it's his co-director.
He's the screen for Shin Ultraman. Anno is the screenwriter, and for Shin Godzilla,
he's the co-director, right?
For Shin Godzilla, he was the writer.
Not co-director?
Oh, writer and co-director. And co-director.
Yeah, so the co-director...
But Shin Ultraman, but the other director who also is directing Shin Ultraman is Shinji Higuchi.
Yeah.
But people always credit Anno.
No, it's something like shorthand for when we talk about media properties. Like, people always say Stan Lee Spider-Man, but it's Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. Or Bob Kane created Batman, while Bill Finger did most of the heavy lifting with the first draft of Batman, or the full concept
Shinji
of Batman.
Higuchi also directed the live-action Attack on Titan movies, so maybe...
Yes, so fingers crossed on that one. 'Cause
he did the special effects for the 90s Gamera trilogy. That's pretty cool.
The thing with Japan is they don't know how to do CG well, and they don't know how to do costuming.
I don't know. Shin Godzilla looked pretty good. Well, I guess that was more practical.
It's more practical mixed with CG.
And most of the CG was the lasers.
Yeah, it's more aiming to be like old tokusatsu shows, or tokusatsu
movies,
shows in general, and old monster movies. So in that respect, it's pretty much in line with what we expect from a Japan-made Godzilla movie, but.
Yeah.
Overall speaking, Japan doesn't really nail CG that well because it all feels a bit weightless and not properly thought within a physical space. And when it comes to costuming, it all it tends to look like cheap cosplay. I'm sorry, they don't really.
Yeah, but we don't do much better when we do live action anime adaptations.
No, but
except Speed Racer.
But
that was the one exception.
But think of things like the MCU and the DCEU. It's
right.
It's a very stark contrast between what comic adaptations.
Better costumes, much worse posters.
That is true. That is true. But in Japan, it's also dependent on who's the biggest star at the moment, like the best singer or the most popular singer or heartthrob, and let's put them in a movie because that will attract people.
Right.
It's a very different beast compared to the West.
Not that we don't have that.
No, it's not that we don't have it, but it's a very different beast.
I was speaking of Godzilla. I was there. Speaking of like posters, there was a. The name of the artist escapes me, but he's famous for making a lot of like Godzilla art. I want to say Kuiji Yada or something. Hang on, let me. Arcada. No, that's not what it was. Hang on, I'm gonna find it. Because this is bothering me now. Yuji Kaida.
Okay.
He did art for a lot of Godzilla posters, including Shin Godzilla, and he got a book released in English recently, like the English version, but it is. Looking at the reviews, it's put together like the images are nice, but the book itself is put together terribly. Like it's cheaply glued together, and I'm like, oh, that's unfortunate.
Okay.
I should have mentioned that earlier, but I just remembered it.
It's fine. It's fine.
And then next we have Analogue Pocket Review by Seth G. Macy for IGN. He has a much more in-depth review than I do, I'm sure, because he's played it more than I have. We have a snapshot of Nintendo's convoluted legal history by Khee Hoon Chan for The Gamer. Khee Hoon Chan does a lot of good work, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Just all over, like at GameSpot, at The Gamer, all over the place.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say Khee Hoon is probably one of the next rising stars within the game writing space. So look out for their work.
So Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel is flawed, but you can make it better by Graham Russell for Siliconera. Beginner tips for Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel Dawn of the Battle Royale by me for The Gamer. It should have been. It was I don't know why they changed it. It was supposed to be things we wish we knew before starting Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel Dawn of the Battle Royale, but I don't know.
I think this is
8 things you didn't.
Okay.
8 things you didn't know about Monster Rancher by me also for The Gamer.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that Monster Rancher, they had a racing and party game?
The party game I knew, but the racing game not.
No, it's the same one.
Ah, interesting.
It's a racing and party game. You race across like a board. So it's kind of a weird hybrid. Monster Rancher Hop About. And it's post-apocalyptic, and I've mentioned that before. There was a Monster Rancher MMO in Japan.
Huh. Japan gets all the cool stuff.
It didn't last that long.
Oh, never mind. Never mind.
It had a beta for like several years, and then it had a full release, and then 6 months later, because of like little popularity, it went offline.
Okay.
And then there's like some weird stuff with like naming stuff. So we never got the original Monster Rancher DS was actually not released outside of Japan, and the Monster Rancher DS that was released internationally is actually Monster Rancher DS 2.
That is,
but it's a weird naming thing.
That is confusing.
Which a similar
on
thing
so many
happened. a similar thing happened in Europe, where because the first Monster Rancher never released there until 1+2 DX, Monster Rancher 2 was just Monster Rancher. And then last but not least, we have 10 spider people who deserve their own video game, also by me for the gamer. I filled this with my own work because I couldn't find that many other features this week because things are kind of winding down.
Just take pride in your own work, buddy.
Plus, they're relevant.
It's
it's funny because I'm getting to write about Yu-Gi-Oh! And Monster Rancher recently, so I'm just like, okay, well, these will work. And the Spider-Man thing, people are like, what does that have to do with Japan? There are 3 characters that have been referred to as Japanese Spider-Man.
Yes.
There's Spider-Man from the Toei Tokusatsu series. There's Spider-Man from the Spider-Man manga from the 1970s, I believe.
I think it's something a bit later. Let me.
Okay.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
And then Spider-Man J, who is a different. I mean, the English translation of the first 2 volumes would have you believe it's Peter Parker, but it's actually a different character. And I was pitching how, because this character is a middle schooler, and sometimes meets. Kind of does his own thing, but sometimes meets other Marvel heroes and villains. I'm like, you can make this like a My Hero Academia type of story.
Pretty much,
which would probably get a lot of people interested.
It's very much shonen Spider-Man.
Yeah,
and there's actually a 4th Japanese quote-unquote Spider-Man if we count Mangaverse Spider-Man, but that's up for debate.
And we also, well, I guess we're going to count Penny Parker technically.
No, she just rocks a Evangelion type spider mech.
In Into the Spider-Verse, she's actually Japanese though, right? Because she went through a whole redesign. It's a whole thing, but yeah, go check that out.
Yes. Okay, but that's a longer conversation for another podcast.
Yeah, so it's a way long. Yeah. Just go check it out if you want to learn more. There's plenty of information out there on the interwebs. Get it? Oh
God.
All right. So, man, this episode. We are on episode 100, but I didn't expect us. We're an hour in, and we're just getting to the news.
Yeah, good stuff. First up.
So now it's time for the news rundown, and I'll let our bearer of bad news and Shinigami take it away with the last piece of badish news for the year.
Yes, Bankai. First up, we have Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker server queues push Square Enix to halt sales and new free trials. This is by Mike Williams, friend of the show for Fanbyte. Nearly 2 weeks out from the launch of Endwalker, Final Fantasy XIV is still seeing login issues, lengthy queue times, and general server issues. The team at Square Enix has been working to alleviate the problems, increasing the size of queue lobbies and noting the causes behind some of the server errors. During peak hours, though, players are still seeing queues that are an hour or more, and error code 2002 threatens to make that even longer. This evening even saw a hard disconnect among all the servers, with players unable to log into the launcher for around an hour. Square Enix identified the disconnect as being caused by a quote-unquote server equipment issue that has since been resolved. In a statement this evening, FF14 creative director and lead producer Naoki Yoshida once again addressed the long queue times. You can click on the article to give our friend Mike Williams to read on Fanbyte, and it boils down to them halting sales of new copies of the game and even the free trial, because it's getting hella crowded on these servers. And for those who are screaming at me saying, why not just add more servers? First rule of MMO or live game design, that's never the answer, because adding more servers is very costly. And once the player base drops, you are then saddled with servers you cannot keep because it's too expensive. And that's, you can never anticipate how many people will log into a MMO or live service game, but you can hope. But tackling it with extra servers is never the answer. It's
I wonder for Final Fantasy XIV when things will start dropping off.
I'd say around March.
Because stuff really ramped up in the past 2 years.
Yeah, it's because, the Activision Blizzard stuff, people flooding towards FF14 when Asmongold started playing. That, and maybe the economy issues within New World also made people not want to jump into that one. But, in case you want to get your fantasy MMO fix, there's Phantasy Star Online, there's Elder Scrolls Online, there's Star Wars The Old Republic.
Yeah, Phantasy Star Online did not hit as well as I wanted it to.
Yeah. There's also Bless Unleashed. There's a lot. But yeah, it's
Black Desert Online.
There's also Black Desert Online. So yeah, there's plenty.
Maple Story 2 is a thing. Yeah. I don't know how popular it is, but it's a thing.
Considering how it was like early internet stuff, I think it's still popular.
RuneScape still exists.
Well, there you go. But now on to the good-ish news. In other news, Granblue Fantasy Relink adds PC version and the latest details and teaser trailer. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Granblue Fantasy Relink will be available for PC via Steam alongside its previously announced PS5 and PS4 versions when it launches in 2022 worldwide. Publisher Cygames and developer Cygames Osaka announced. Various new details were also announced, starting with a new character called Roland. If you click on the article, you can see screenshots, which feature pretty graphics. A breakdown of the characters, what you can expect. It's a lot to go through. There's also a nice trailer. It's shaping up to be pretty cool looking. So, keep your eyes on this game. Next up, new DualSense wireless controllers.
Oh wait, hold on.
Yes.
So have you seen the older footage of this?
Yes.
Yeah, because I've seen people do not like how this new footage makes it look a bit more generic. Like the older footage looked very
generic.
Nice. Yeah, generic as in it looks more like a generic anime game.
Who do I need to slap across the internet?
It still looks. I think personally, I still think it looks good, but I definitely don't think it looks as good as the old footage did. But development changes and all that happens.
Whomst complain? Whomst present yourself.
People
listen. Whenever a game gets designed and scoped in its initial concept, it's just a rough draft, really, because you don't know how a game...
That was a really good-looking rough draft.
Yeah, you don't know how a game will look like until probably the last 6 months of development, and then you don't even know when that will be.
Yeah, and I still think it looks good. It looks more like something like Tales of Arise. I think it looks very similar to Tales of Arise, to be honest.
It could also be the same... I don't want to say it's the same thing Babylon's Fall is running into, but the early concepts of Babylon's Fall look markedly better than what it is now. But the same thing. It's an early concept. It's running on a build that's just running one slice of one level.
Both are or were related to Platinum in terms of Granblue.
Yeah,
it was related to Platinum originally, and then
but
they were switched.
Back to my point. It's a game running on a slice of a much larger concept. It's built to run well in early footage and tests.
Right.
So to attract developers to come join the team, to attract eyeballs, to get them excited for the game. Never go off of what's shown at the beginning of development. you'll just run into the whole puddle gate Spider-Man thing, or the Watch Dogs.
Oh, jeez, not the puddle thing.
Or the Watch Dogs early footage thing. It's game development is hard. If it looks easy when we play it, it's because game developers with a lot of talent and a lot of hard work and time made it look easy with their hard work.
Yes.
Okay.
Again, I'm still interested in it.
Yes, it looks great. Anyway.
It's just I saw that some people were disappointed by that art style change.
Go touch grass. Go touch grass.
I wouldn't say that. I can understand the
Go touch grass. That's
it happens.
It's my firm stance. Go touch grass. Next up, new DualSense wireless controller colors arrive next month, followed by new PS5 console covers. This is the PlayStation vlog and Isabel Tomatis. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Today, we are pleased to reveal the newest colors to join the PS5 family of color accessory offerings: Nova Pink, Starlight Blue, and Galactic Purple, adding to the previously released Cosmic Red and Midnight Black DualSense controllers. Well, wireless controller colors. The latest Galaxy-inspired colors will launch globally starting in January 2022 at participating retailers. We are also introducing new PS5 console covers to match all the Galaxy-inspired DualSense wireless controller colors in Midnight Black, Cosmic Red, Nova Pink, Starlight Blue, and Galactic Purple. Okay, so they will also be available for both the disc version and the slimmed digital version. So pick your own poison. It looks cool. Will you be buying any of these, or are you waiting on?
I really want to get the black one, and then get the Midnight Black controller.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you getting these, or are you waiting on a special edition Monster Hunter one, or I don't know, a special edition Ultraman or Kamen Rider one?
Oh, that would be cool, but I don't expect that. I don't expect an official version of that.
Well, these things are pretty spray paintable, so get
a Godzilla one.
Get creative. Get creative. Next up, DNF Duel Hitman trailer, PS5 and PS4 open beta test for December 17 to 20. This is by Sal Romano for Komatsu. Publisher Nexon and developers Neopol. That's new. Arc System Works and Aiding will host an open beta test for DNF Duel on PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 for December 17th, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time to December 20th, 6 a.m. Pacific Time, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, the companies announced. The news comes via a new trailer introducing the Hitman as a playable character and teasing 4 more character reveals to come. Nexon also confirmed that DNF Duel will release for PC in addition to console devices including PS4 and PS5. Other platforms to be announced. So DNF stands for Dungeon Fighter, and that's related to Dungeon Fighter Online, which is a scrolling.
Didn't know that was still going.
It's a side-scrolling
still
online game.
Still very popular, apparently.
Yeah. What surprised me?
This game came out when I was in high school.
The OG DNF, not DNF Duel.
Yeah, the game that DNF Duel is based on.
Yeah, so this footage, the thing that was shown recently, and I think in the few weeks before that, surprised me because Guilty Gear Strive is barely a year old, and already we have a game made by Arc System Works, among others, that looks remarkably similar to Guilty Gear Strive. So it's I don't know if is this a smart move to have okay, but sure. It looks cool at least. More fighting games. So yeah, that's cool. Do you have any interest in this game, or
I just like looking at the animations when Arc System Works makes a game like this.
But you don't yourself play
so
Arc System
sleek
Works
and smooth.
games.
I played a little bit of Fighter Z at one of the E3s I went to because it was there.
Well, it's also
and it wasn't like it was a preview for that. It was just like a game that was set up at one of the booths, one of the media booths, and I was like, oh, I'll try it. I've never played it before.
Yeah.
But no, I just always like the style of Arc System Works.
It's not only Arc System Works that's working on it, though. We should clarify. It's also Aiding,
Right.
who has some fighting game experience. Neopol, I
Yes.
don't know about that well, so I can't speak to that. But
I'm just saying that when they make an art style like that, I'm always interested.
Yeah.
Just in them visually,
Yeah.
like with Persona 4 Arena and Dragon Ball Fighters and this and
yeah, very fluid.
Did they do a cross tag battle or whatever?
Blaze Brew cross tag battle.
Yeah, the one with Ruby and Persona characters.
I think, yeah. Next up, Yomawari 3 coming to PS4 and Switch in April 2022. This is by Carly Garcia for Siliconera. Nipponichi Software announced that Yomawari 3 is currently in development. The survival horror game will release for PS4 and Nintendo Switch on April 21st, 2022 in Japan. A brief teaser trailer. I almost said teaser trailer for the upcoming title has also been released. You can click on the article to look at said trailer. The first game in the series, Yomawari Night Alone, was released in Japan for the PS4. No? PS Vita, yeah. PS Vita and PC in 2015. And a sequel, Yomawari Midnight Shadows, was released in 2017. Both released English releases and were later bundled as Yomawari, the Long Night Collection for the Nintendo Switch in 2018. Okay, this is horror light, I want to say. It's spooky more than scary, so it should be digestible for you, Erroll. Not saying
What?
Not
Oh, it should be?
yeah.
I thought it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's
at
pretty
it.
cute looking, I feel like.
But that's how they get you. I've seen Madoka Magica. I know what can happen.
No, that's something completely different.
Next up, we have Yokai Watch Puni Puni Evangelion event announced. This is by Josh Tolentino for Siliconera. Neon Genesis Evangelion went through a lot of reboots in its time, and now Shinji and his fellow EVA pilots will be reborn as bean-shaped creatures. Mobile puzzle game Yokai Watch Puni Puni is holding a collaboration event with Evangelion, which will see Shinji, Mari, Rei, and Asuka joining the yokai. Publisher level 5 also uploaded a teaser trailer for the Yokai Watch Puni Puni Cross Evangelion collaboration event. The trailer shows off versions of Rei, Shinji, Mari, and Asuka as they appear in the game. They appear both as themselves and paired up with various yokai. During the event, players can access special stages patterned after battles from the rebuild of Evangelion tetralogy. They'll also take on boss creatures patterned after the various angels. The English version of the originally launched in 2015, Yokai Watch Puni Puni, is a puzzle-based RPG for mobile devices. The English version of the game was known as Yokai Watch Wibble Wobble and was shut down in 2018. But at least something is happening.
Yeah.
The Evangelion collaboration event kicks off on December 16, 2021. Yeah, at least Yokai Watch is still relevant in some way. I was looking at a list of like a TV tropes page of games considered spiritual successors, and one was like Yokai Watch is a spiritual successor to Dragon Quest Monsters. I'm like, no. It has some similarities, but no, it's not.
Even I know that.
I think it was just like the whole, you have three monsters on the, and I don't know. It could be seen as that, but it's definitely not that. Anyways, next story.
Next story. Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin Final Fantasy Birthday livestream set for December 18th. This is by, once again, Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Square Enix will host the Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin Final Fantasy Birthday livestream on, as I said before, at December 18th, or on December 18th at 7 p.m. Japan Standard Time. The company announced you will be able to watch it on YouTube. December 18th is the birth date of the original Final Fantasy, so Square Enix will celebrate its birthday while unraveling the connection between the original Final Fantasy and Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin, as well as share the latest information about the game. Click on article to read about basically everything this broadcast features. So get on that. And speaking of chaos, Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin details Sophia, Astos, Tiamat, basic jobs, and more. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Publisher Square Enix and developer Team Ninja have released new information and screenshots for Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin, introducing new characters Sophia, Astos, and Tiamat, the basic 3 jobs, and more. Click on the article if you want a full breakdown. I'd love to read it all for you, but it's a lot, so, click on the article. And I am surprised to see fan service in a Final Fantasy game that's not like old school fan service. It's definitely Team Ninja working on this. I'll say that much. It's not as egregious as let's say Dead or Alive, but it's definitely, you can definitely consider it fan service. Yeah, that's all I got. I was surprised when I saw it, but yeah, it's okay, I guess. Sure. Next up is you.
Chocobo GP Grand Prix launches March 10th, 2022. Available in paid and light versions. This is by Saruman for Gamatsu. Chocobo GP will launch digitally for Switch on March 10th, 2022 worldwide, Square Enix announced. In Japan, it will be priced at 6,578 yen, so about like $65, $70. And a physical edition will also be available. A free-to-play light version will launch alongside the paid version. There's an overview of the game. Set out on a charming campaign where Chocobo and friends enter a racing tournament to grant their greatest wish. Enjoy local split screen or online multiplayer with friends. Race through enchanting locations and unlock new characters with unique abilities. There's here are the modes: the story mode, adventures through the campaign to unlock characters and courses, series races, drift and boost your way through 4 tracks in a row and complete for the highest score online or locally with 2-player split screen. Time attack, race against other players' ghost or your own from across the world and test just how fast you can go. Custom races, create your own crazy challenge by controlling the number of tracks and magicite you can have in your own custom race. You can even invite friends to try it out or share your Joy-Cons with a friend for 2-player local fun. And Chocobo GP mode, compete against up to 64 players in an online knockout tournament and prove you're the best racer. The rewards will change with every season pass. The light version allows you to try out single-player and multiplayer mode. They can play the story mode prologue and participate in both local and online multiplayer using a limited amount of characters. Light players can also join local multiplayer races hosted by a player who owns the full game. Both versions are able to race in the 64-player knockout-style online tournament. With your purchase, you can carry over your save data from the light version, and including any items and in-game currency acquired through your racing adventure. So basically a demo. Basically a demo where you can transfer save data. So that's nice.
Yeah. I love it when they
also,
do that.
You can play as Vivi and Steiner from Final Fantasy IX, is something people noticed.
I mean, that was the original trailer, Vivi and Steiner, so...
Oh, they were?
Yeah.
I don't know what... Yeah, this game looks great.
Yes.
It doesn't look... I can't believe somebody said it looks horrible.
It looks good. It's a cute kart racing game. What did you expect it to look like? Forza with ray tracing?
I think the person I'm referring to expected it to look more like Mario Kart, which it doesn't even look that different. It just doesn't have bright neon lights everywhere.
It's fine. It's fine. It looks cute. It's for the kids. It looks cute.
Right. I'll try it out.
Yeah.
Especially because there's going to be a light version, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Next story.
Yes, that's me. Thought you were going to go on more of a longer rant, but okay.
No.
I was giving you breathing room. Xbox Game Pass adds Among Us, The Gunk, Lake, Record of Lodoss War, Deedlit in Wonder Labyrinth, and more in mid-December. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Microsoft has announced new titles coming to the Xbox Game Pass. They should be available at this moment of recording. The Gunk, Lake, Among Us, Record of Lodoss War, Labyrinth, Deal It in Wonder Labyrinth, and more. I mean, I keep... should I name them all, or...?
No, just the Japanese.
Okay, I'll just do the Japanese ones.
That's why I just noted certain ones.
Okay, Record of Lodoss War, Deedlit in Wonder Labyrinth, based off of the Record of Lodoss War franchise. It's basically a Metroidvania in the same vein of Symphony of the Night. So get on it. Trek to Yomi, which is a... Think of it as 2D Ghost of Tsushima, and you're probably in the same ballpark. Let's see what else. I think that should be it. That's not Super Monkey Ball. Yeah, that's it. And notably, Yakuza 0 and Kiwami 2 are leaving December 31st, along with Pro Evolution Soccer, if you still cared about that one. The Yakuza games are pretty much on sale every 2 weeks. Yakuza 0 you can find for as cheap as $5. You can get the... Is it called the Origins Collection bundle? Like, it features 0, Kiwami 2, and then you have the Remastered Collection, which is 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, and 5, and 6 is separate. So yeah, the Yakuza games are pretty affordable these days. Yeah, get on it. Next up, Nintendo Switch was the best-selling console in the US in November 2021. This is by Matt Purslow for IGN. The NPD Group has announced that the Nintendo Switch was the best-selling console in the US during November 2021. Not only that, but the console remains the US's best-selling console of 2021. In the analyst group's latest data, the Switch was reported as being the best-selling hardware platform in November. I almost misspoke. Both in terms of units sold and dollars spent. 1.13 million consoles were sold during the month, with 550,000 of them sold during Thanksgiving week. Phew. This comes despite a colossal year-on-year decline for hardware sales. November hardware spending is down 38% to $883 million, which is nothing to sneeze at. This is the lowest total since November 2016. This is blamed on a lack of available console inventory, which is a symptom of the ongoing chip shortages. Click on the article to read more about this.
Switch keeps breaking records despite its, graphical, what it lacks in graphical capabilities. Just keep selling well.
Look, as much as we harp on exclusives, people will eventually go for the thing that's affordable.
Right.
Which is the Switch or Xbox Series S. And
yes.
The Xbox Series S combined with Game Pass makes for an excellent combination if you're on the affordable route. And the Switch is portable, and it has a lot of built-in nostalgia with Nintendo's catalog, and a lot of games that are suitable for children. So Thanksgiving sales, what do you think will sell better? That or
also, plenty of games that weren't officially downloadable before because of HD remasters and such, like Skyward Sword and the Mario 3D collection, Sunshine and I'm guessing also the latest Pokemon games drove sales. So yeah, it's a pretty good combination. As much as the internet likes to complain about how Pokemon isn't the same anymore, it still sells gangbusters. So
but to be fair, that's not the complete argument to be had because how do I say this? FIFA is consistently a top seller. Call of Duty is consistently a top seller, but that doesn't discount that fundamentally they have things that need working on. But because
I'm sure there are people who get Yeah, I'm sure there are people like with FIFA and Madden and stuff, people who only get Pokemon every year. Now, I haven't met those people, but I'm sure they exist somewhere.
They exist. They exist far more than we exist. We are the dozens. We are we are the minority in this.
Speaking of Pokemon, a Japanese billionaire is about to let us know if you can play Pokemon Go in space. This is by Josh Coulson for The Gamer. Pokemon Go launched back in 2016 and allowed all of us to live out a lifelong dream we didn't think would ever become a reality. The opportunity to travel the world, the real one, seeking out and catching Pokemon. The game has been an unmitigated hit, and as long as you have a mobile phone with a signal and Pokemon Go installed, you can play it absolutely anywhere. It turns out being able to play Pokemon Go anywhere on the planet isn't enough for some people. Japanese billionaire Yusaku Maezawa wants to know if you can still play the game while in space. Maezawa, his assistant, and their film producer shot off into space last week and are currently residing on the International Space Station. The billionaire recently shared a time-lapse of one full orbit of the Earth on Twitter. That's great and beautiful and blah blah blah, but come on, Maezawa, close your camera app and open up the Pokemon Go one already. You've been up there for a week. Your 10.8 million Twitter followers are waiting to see if Deoxys really does live in space. Or even better, there's an intergalactic variant of Pidgey that has been left undiscovered thanks to us all being stuck here more than 200 miles underneath your feet.
Yeah, I was about to say one of the legendaries probably resides in space.
Deoxys.
Yeah.
The odds of Niantic including a region-exclusive Pokemon only available to trainers who make it to space seems unlikely. Depending on how exactly those on the ISS connect to the internet, Pokemon Go could simply believe Maezawa is just moving incredibly quickly across whatever part of Earth is directly below him.
I mean, it would probably depend on which GPS satellite is.
Yeah, it says the last paragraph is him. Although astronauts on the ISS can do things like tweet and watch Netflix, maybe steer clear of checking out gravity, the most likely outcome is Pokemon Go does nothing in space. That Maezawa will open the app and be greeted with an error message or simply his avatar and buddy Pokemon treading aimlessly in an infinite amount of nothingness. That's boring though, so let's keep our collective fingers crossed that the entirety of Gen 9 is residing in space and a Japanese billionaire is about to ruin its future reveal.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I like about this is this billionaire, like, actually went to space. Like, you need training for that.
Or you need a lot of money for that, because billionaires.
But unlike, the Western billionaires who go up and go in space for what, like 2 seconds? They go out of the atmosphere for 2 seconds and they're like, hey, I've been to space. And I'm just like, no, this guy has been to space.
No, that's slightly different because what Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos are marketing is like a quick tourism gimmick where you shoot up into the air and up into space and then quickly come back down, because logistically speaking, a trip towards an international space station and beyond would be very costly. So a short trip of maybe 2 minutes into space would probably be the most affordable for a certain group of people.
All I know is Yusaku Maezawa is actually doing some real work up there.
I wouldn't go that far, but okay.
Speaking of Pokemon once again, Pokemon Legends Arceus details Diamond Clan, Pearl Clan, Ginkgo guild merchants, and Darkrai. Meet clan leaders Adamon and Irida. This is by Sarumono for Gamatsu. The Pokemon Company and developer Game Freak have released a new trailer and screenshots for Pokemon Legends Arceus, introducing the game's Diamond Clan, Pearl Clan, Ginkgo guild merchants, and Darkrai. In addition to being the home to the Galaxy Expedition Team, 2 other groups reside in the Hisui region, the Diamond Clan and the Pearl Clan. The people of the Diamond Clan often speak of the importance of cherishing the present and living in the moment with one's allies. On the other hand, members of the Pearl Clan frequently advocate the importance of valuing the vast, spacious land shared with others. Although the Diamond Clan and Pearl Clan disagree on many of their beliefs, they seem to nevertheless share many similarities. Both clans don clothing designed to resemble a certain Pokemon, and both pay respects to special Pokemon they call lords and ladies, or collectively noble Pokemon. Moreover, both clans have wardens who serve these special Pokemon. We have Adamon. He serves as the leader of the Diamond Clan and has Leafeon as his partner Pokemon. He hates to see time go to waste and likes to rush forward without worrying too much about particulars. And we have Arita, who serves as the leader of the Pearl Clan. Her partner Pokemon is Glaceon. She feels it is important to have courage to face the vast Heathery region. Though she is suspicious when first meeting people, she will slowly come to trust the player thanks to the help they provide in quelling the noble Pokemon. The Ginkgo Guild merchants, group of merchants known as Ginkgo Guild, also operates in the Heathery region. Not native to Heathery, members of Ginkgo Guild travel around to various locations of the region selling wares they have gathered. It's interesting because these characters have... So we have the Diamond guy who looks kind of like he could be related to Professor Sycamore from X and Y, like he could be an ancestor. And then Irida looks similar to Serena from X and Y when she has short hair. And then we have the merchants look very similar to Volkner and Cynthia from Diamond and Pearl. Then we have Darkrai. Players with play records from the Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pokemon Shining Pearl games will be able to take on a research request in Pokemon Legends Arceus that will lead to an encounter with the mythical Pokemon Darkrai. They will also be able to claim the modern Team Galactic set. So that's pretty interesting with a lot of lore implications. I know a friend of the show, Taco, he's working on a very big lore video in preparation for Pokemon Legends Arceus. And it's very interesting to see them go more into the lore. Because usually it's just kind of like it'll be a part of the story in a game, but it won't really go into, you know what I mean?
I don't think it... I want to temper people's expectations because...
it's leading into the lore a little more than you would usually get. I don't think it's like... I think it's just very interesting they're going this direction.
Grain of salt, people. Grain of salt.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
Next up, Inazuma 11 Great Road of Heroes is still in development. This is by Kite Stenbuck for Siliconera. Akihiro Hino has assured Inazuma 11 fans that the series' upcoming game, Great Road of Heroes, is still in development. In a tweet, the Level 5 CEO mentioned the game to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Inazuma 11 Go. The official account had also tweeted about it already, but today is the 10th anniversary of Inazuma 11 Go Shine and Dark. Thank you for always supporting them. Although we are currently holding a Musashi Festival, the new title, Inazuma 11 Great Road of Heroes, is also undergoing production, so please wait for it. Level 5 released Inazuma 11 Go on Nintendo 3DS in Japan 10 years ago on December 15, 2011. Similar to Pokemon games, Level 5 made two versions of Go, which feature different characters. Nintendo published the English localization and changed the version titles to Light and Shadow in June 2014 in Europe and July 2015 in Australia and New Zealand. North America only ever got one Inazuma 11 game, which was the digital 3DS remake of the first Inazuma 11 game. As Hino mentioned in his tweet, Level 5 is currently focusing its attention on Megaton Musashi. The mecha action RPG is immediately available on PS4 and Nintendo Switch in Japan. Yeah, the one we talked about last week.
Yeah.
Inazuma 11 Great Road of Heroes is currently under development for the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Android and iOS mobile devices. Level 5 is yet to announce the game's official release window, although Akihiro Hino mentioned that the development team aims to have it released in 2023. Well, hopefully by then.
Like,
this game did have to restart development after all.
Imagine how stressed Hino must be.
I think he put Level 5... The problem with Level 5 is they always put themselves on way too many projects. And they seem like they're stretching themselves really thin, to be honest.
But, as I keep explaining when we bring this up, that's how studios survive. They don't get massive amounts of money all the time. So they have to juggle multiple projects and multiple streams of income to keep the lights on.
Then there was a whole thing with the skeleton crew of Level 5 in US, and that was more a management thing that, I don't know, that might have been separate from.
Yeah.
That was just an unfortunate situation.
Yeah, it's. We just wish them well and hope they are successful. That's all I can say.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad they released... I still need to try out that demo of Megaton Musashi, but I'm glad they released it.
Mm-hmm. At least
will
we
it
have
get
that.
localized? I hope so.
Next up, The Legend of Heroes Kuro no Kiseki 2 Crimson Sin. Announced for PS5 and PS. They keep announcing Legend of Heroes games. They can't keep getting away with this. We'll never catch up at this rate.
Look, as you said, the...
No, I'm not begrudging them for doing this, but it's staggering to have them announce a new Kiseki game after the last one, and the multiple Kiseki games we're not getting yet until I think 24. Like that's a lot to go through, but okay. This is by Sauro Mano for Gamatsu. Falcom has announced The Legend of Heroes Kuro no Kiseki 2 Crimson Sin for PS5 and PS4. It will launch in fall 2022 in Japan. So my estimate, 2025 in the West. Click on the article if you want to have full details and want to see the screenshots. It definitely looks really pretty though. Much more dynamic as the Kiseki games of late have been. So, looking cool. Next up in Tales Land, The Legend of Nayuta, Boundless Trails, or I said Trails.
Yeah,
Trails
Land, not Tales Land.
That's a different JRPG.
We talked about that earlier.
That's a different JRPG. Boundless Trails for Switch launches in spring 2022 in Japan. Western release not due out until 2023. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Falcom will release The Legend of Nayuta, Boundless Trails for Switch in spring 2022 in Japan, the developer announced. The Switch version, which is titled Nayuta no Kiseki at Astra in Japan, will feature enhanced graphics, 60 frames per second support, and higher sound quality over the PlayStation Portable original title. It's funny, a Switch game running 60 FPS because it's support of a PSP game. That's hilarious on so many fronts. Despite bearing a new subtitle, Falcom did not detail any additional features in the Switch version not already present in the June 2021 release PS4 version. In the West, The Legend of Nayuta Boundless Trails is due out for PS4, Switch, and PC via Steam and Epic Games Store in 2023. Click on the article if you want to see the overview and some screenshots. Man, Trails fans are eating well for at least 2 decades.
I would get into it, but I already have to go through Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. Maybe when I'm like 40. I don't know.
I mean, they're lengthy RPGs, but they're not forever RPGs.
Dude, plus the demo having long cutscenes really threw me off.
Just play Trails in the Sky. That's the first one. You should be fine.
I'm gonna not do that.
Chicken.
Look, I got enough RPGs to play as it is.
Okay.
Like I said, maybe in a couple of years, but as of right now, I'm not getting into yet another series.
Fair enough.
Next up, new Puzzle Bobble game in development. First mock-up image shared. This is by Saramano for Gamatsu. A new Puzzle Bobble game is in development, Taito announced. In a new video, new Puzzle Bobble game director Tsuyoshi Tozaki said, "I can't give you any more details right now, bub, but I can tell you that as the original Bubble shooter game, Puzzle Bobble will of course include its trademark simple gameplay so anyone can play it. But we're also taking notes from Bubble Bobble for Friends, where you can have fun with friends and family, and we're packing all those ideas into a new game." Level designer Hidetaka Iyomasa added, "You can play alone and try your hand at a real-time attack. We work together on Bubble Bobble for Friends, and just like in that game, the more the merrier. Play with your parents or your friends, or just by yourself. We've got it down to a science. We've got you covered. What's more, oh, who's this little fellow? And there's characters who, no, I can't say who are, oh, I'm bursting to tell you. Anyway, we have plenty for you to look forward to." As for when it will release, Tozaki said, "We've only just started with development. It's still a way off. So it's still a way off, but the whole team is hard at work, determined to make a fun game, so please look forward to it. So, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know, I'm excited for that.
Oh, I know you are.
I would really love if they made like and I don't know if this would ever happen, but this is a weird pitch, like an RPG type game that uses, but the battles use like a puzzle bobble or bubble bobble type of, puzzle bobble type of mechanic for something, and then it uses all the different characters from Bubble Bobble.
No, I could see that happening.
Oh, whoops.
What is whoops? What did you whoops? Oh.
I accidentally put the link in the wrong place. All right. How much time we got left? Oh, not that much. We're going to be going a little over. It's the last episode of the year. So and it's our 100th episode.
Bear with us.
So, I mean, how do we feel? We have a listener question from our buddy Josh, which goes into the how do we feel after doing 100 episodes. Josh asked, what's your favorite thing about doing the podcast? Any best moments or takeaways?
I'll let you go first since you're the host.
Scheduling this stuff is hard, man, when you have other work to do.
That is true. Because the thing about podcasts is you have to run at a consistent key. You can't...
Right.
You it's fine if you miss like your regular posting, but don't make it a habit, or else you can't.
You have to make it up. We always made up for that.
You can't have gaps in your programming, because otherwise the audience drops, and you also lose a lot of chemistry and production time that could have been used better, and it's a whole thing. So consistency is key. It's definitely hard because we're an international podcast. You're in the west of the United States of America, and I'm in the north of South America. So it's a good 4 hours apart, or 5 hours depending on what season we're in. And that has logistical challenges, because you're basically at the start of your evening when we start recording, and I'm at the end of my evening.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a challenge, but it's a fun challenge, and
then doing it every week can get a little hard too, because not every week has a lot of news, especially since we have we're a bit more niche than the typical video game news show.
We're very niche. I mean,
but we do a lot of news that these bigger video game news shows miss.
I mean,
so
we're probably in the same league as, let's say, 8-4 Plays. You have Giant Sword.
I need to listen to them more.
Podcast.
I've listened to a few episodes.
What do you have? You have a few.
The Save Room. Our buddies over at the Save Room.
You have that, and I mean, if you can come up with a niche, it probably exists as a podcast, and we definitely exist. So there's that. 100 episodes is nothing to sneeze at. What is my favorite?
No.
What is my favorite thing, or one of my favorite things? It's getting to talk to you every week, which is always a lot of fun because we don't have the same tastes. So it's always fun to have that discussion and see where that different falls when we discuss, because sometimes you're extremely left of a thing and I'm extremely right of a thing, not politically speaking, of course.
Yes. Just video game speaking.
Just video game
wise.
Yeah, video game politics. And yeah, it's always fun to get into those topics, because I learn so much from your perspective, and it also leads me to better present my case when I'm talking about a game, because I don't want to make it seem like, oh, you're totally wrong for not liking this thing. But it's more of a thing of, I can see why you might not like this, or why this does not resonate with you. It's a thing I've learned over the years of, you don't have to be right 100% of all the time, because that can be pretty insufferable. I get it. But yeah, talking to you is one of my favorite things. Getting to discuss the news, because how many people get to do that? It's just do that. Podcasting is pretty popular at the moment, and a lot of people are doing it.
Right.
There are also a bajillion video game podcasts.
Yeah.
But just getting together and talking about the news is pretty exciting, and I like it. And for someone, as I mentioned in my tweet, from a place most people haven't heard of, it's a pretty big milestone.
Yeah.
I am a person of color doing a video game podcast that has reached 100 episodes, and maybe 100 plus, because if you add all those extra things we did over the course of the show, it's a lot. But yeah, that's about my favorite thing.
We still need to have a Pokemon battle at some point.
At some point.
Now that we're both finished.
Best moments are when we got to talk to Alexa Ray Correa, which
that was real fun. That podcast could have gone on for hours.
Yeah, she is definitely one of my favorite people in the industry, and she's a pretty big inspiration for how I tackle these things, because back then there wasn't an RPG podcast I could go towards, and she had one, which was great. And she also loved JRPGs, and I didn't see JRPGs get that much love back then, so that was great. And now having had her on the show, and you having had Nadia Oxford from Axe of the Blood God, which is also a great RPG podcast, listen to that one if you can, because it's always a great time. So cool.
The interview, I separated the interview from the podcast.
Yeah, I know.
So you can just listen to that. Yeah.
That, talking to Michael Hyam, who's always hyped.
Yeah, I'm just glad we had like all the guests we've got, and I know we haven't had guests since.
No,
we haven't had a guest since Jake came on, but you know how the pandemic plus like schedules were already hard to schedule around,
and everyone is already on a bajillion podcasts, so it's pretty difficult to find the time to do this.
So it can be hard to manage, and then again, time zones is another thing.
Yeah, and you know, I was out for at least 3 episodes, I want to say, like 2 when I removed my wisdom teeth, 1 when I had a pretty bad headache.
And we got replacement. Well, for the episode with Nadia, we got Josh to replace you for that, and then
Josh from IndiePod.
When we had Cameron Hawkins, it was just me and him.
There was also one episode with Travis from Lamer Gamers, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There was also the episode with Travis as well, which was, I thought that was very interesting, because I had to ask him about like because he's a teacher, so I had to ask him about like using video games as a way to teach stuff.
Wow.
And, like, if he had ever used that. I have to re-listen to that episode.
Yeah.
That was a while ago.
I mean, I got to talk to my heroes, people I've greatly admired, like the aforementioned Alexa Ray, Michael Hyam, Jake Decker, Callie Flaggy, who is an amazing writer and person.
She's in localization now.
Yeah, she's working at Nintendo. We had Nicole B, we had Nadia Oxford, we had Mike Williams. You had Sean Chiplock as an interviewer or interviewee.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm not gonna say he started getting really big roles after doing that interview, but he seemingly started getting really big roles after doing that interview.
Coincidence? I think not.
I mean, he was already Rean Schwarzer in Trails and Mishima in Persona, so
which is also a pretty big role.
But now he's Spider-Man. He's I forgot his name.
Shiki from Eden Zero.
Eden Zero, yes. Yes, Shiki from Eden Zero. There was something else he announced recently, too. He was at Mista in JoJo Part 5 before that.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, those are the best moments. Getting to talk about games, getting to vibe with people. Just being a thing as a show. It's really great, and I think my takeaway is I will always treasure this as having been a part of my life, and probably will be a part of my life. If my kids ask me what cool stuff I did back in the day, I say I had 100 episodes of a podcast show, which you'll probably never hear because I'm too embarrassed to tell you.
How many views did it have? I don't know. I didn't make any money off of it.
Listen, different topic, real quick. Yeah, it's my main takeaway is podcasting is a very special thing, and I'm even getting a bit misty-eyed right now, but it's it's a really great thing when all the parts gel together. I'll say that, and I definitely give all the credit to you for hosting the show and producing the show and keeping up with making thumbnails, getting in contact with guests, and scheduling out these things.
Despite the fact that you don't like a lot of my thumbnails.
I just give very pointed criticism.
You just think a lot of them are too busy, even when they're fine.
It's not that I just disagree with them because I don't like them. It's because I always want to push you to achieve something more. Like as an editor, when I'm writing or when I'm going over someone's writing, it's because I see something that's in the core of what they're trying to do, and I just want to bring out the best of it.
That's what I miss about Parallax, which isn't really active anymore. It's still up, and I'm going to make sure it stays up so people don't lose their work, the good people who have written there with us.
Yeah.
But I was rereading my Mon Game article from earlier this year, and I was like, holy crap, I wrote this? Because like right now I'm writing list articles, and those aren't like written the same way as like a long form article would be. So I'm just like, oh, well, it's probably thanks to Jason's editing. Because I'm like, I don't remember ever writing anything
yes
this good.
And no. I just I'm ironing out the kinks.
Yeah.
And I'm not as an intense editor as other people are, because they really get into how sentences are structured, or they reword something to run a lot more smoothly or read more smoothly. And I'm apprehensive because I don't want to have my voice interfere with the writer's voice. So right. I'm just trying to be as much of a guide as anything else. But yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah. So we're going to have an episode 101, so we can do our 2021 Game of the Year stuff. But after that, we're going to take a bit of a hiatus and maybe do a new form, because these sometimes doing all this news, these episodes kind of get a bit long in the tooth, as they say, and doing it weekly can be a little difficult.
Yeah, we could probably do a bi-weekly digest of all the biggest Japanese game news, or
we may just focus on like recent game releases that we've been playing. You know, we got Pokemon Legends Arceus coming up in January. We got Elden Ring in February. We got Triangle Strategy is that in March? I don't know, or something.
It's somewhere.
Yeah, it's somewhere. You know, we might focus a little less on news and a little more, or like a little less on so much news at the same time. Because that way things can stay a little more evergreen.
Yeah, but it's.
But we'll see. Just letting fans know now, we are gonna go on we're gonna go on our vacation hiatus after this episode, and then after episode 101, we might go on another, hopefully brief hiatus. But I don't know how brief or long it will be.
That's called an indefinite hiatus.
Yeah, an indefinite hiatus, as they say.
But yeah, do you have any favorite things or best moments or takeaways?
I just like how we were able to have all these guests, and also the fact that both of our respective internet connections got better over the course of the podcast.
More or less, yes. That is a funny thing because
I mean, there's always going to be probably a little delay, being however many miles, but
yeah, because a little behind the scenes fact for everyone, we're recording in the poorest conditions at sometimes, because Erroll lives close to an airport. Right,
that's why you hear all the airplanes.
Yeah, and I live in a place where the internet is
not great,
legendarily bad. So very run-of-the-mill stuff when it comes to production. So that definitely factors in why there's so much prep time and why the episodes can run for as long as they can. Because it takes a lot of work. And all credit goes to Erroll for ironing out that when it comes to posting the episodes. This has definitely...
It can be hard, too, because, like, there's always stuff like, oh, I want to talk about this news, but I want to, like, oh, I don't know if I want to take out this section or keep this section or turn that into its own podcast, but then I got to have but then you got to set up another time to record, and, so I just keep, like, the J-list stuff, I wanted to turn that into its own podcast, but it's just, like, with timing and everything, and it's already hard enough to, it's hard enough recording one, so I don't know how people are able to record multiple every week. It's very impressive.
I mean,
I respect the people doing that.
It's probably easier when it's your main job.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, I think...
But I appreciate all the guests we've had on this year.
And
even if our format changes, I still plan on having guests from time to time.
Yeah,
if we come back after episode 101, but I would say don't worry about that too much.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, as Spike Spiegel says.
And we also have to thank all the listeners because...
Yes.
I mean, we're not the biggest show. We're not the biggest show ever, but you guys are here.
I'm sure we have more.
And you pay attention to what we say, which is amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Getting one person to listen to me talk about games is already a pretty mean feat. Having at least 5, it's pretty extraordinary. So thank you.
Yeah, I haven't looked on the analytics of the other services, but from YouTube, it fluctuates a lot.
Yeah, but yeah, it's been a wild ride. So shout out to you, Erroll. Thank you for putting up with me for 100+ episodes.
Thank you for putting up with me and my Mon game shenanigans.
And your Tokusatsu Sentai shenanigans. It's been a wild ride. Thank you so much for listening. We're going on our Christmas break. We'll be back soon.
We will be back with our 2021 Game of the Year episode.
Yes.
Will my Game of the Year remain Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin? Probably, but
most definitely.
We'll have to see.
Thank you for listening. Stay safe out there. Be kind to one another. Be kind to yourself. Get vaccinated if you can. Get your booster shots if you can. Wear a mask. Wash your hands. Wash your face. Wash your butt. Take a shower. Weirdos. Put on deodorant. Go touch some grass. Play some video games.
Go read a good book.
Watch some anime. Read manga. Whatever you do. Have fun out there.
Yeah.
Happy holidays.
Right.
And
stay safe.
Happy holidays from us. And we'll see you soon enough.
Yep.
Bye.
Matane.